And welcome back to Real Talk on SABC3. Most South Africans have less than perfect holiday gatherings. There's the lingering family tension, the obnoxious drunk uncle, and the pressures of hosting the best family get-together. There are organizations created to help those who are experiencing different levels of stress and depression, especially around this time of the year. The levels of depression may vary per patient and life experience. To talk about where and how to find help, I'm now joined by Nkini, Phasha, South African Depression and Anxiety Group spokesperson and board member. We welcome him back to Real Talk. It's your third time, right?
Yeah, I think so, actually. But it's been a while, though.
But I mean, third time, surely we should give you something here. You can have the star. You can have the star. So,
that's very good.
So listen, earlier on, I read a stat that, depression and anxiety causes the country's economy something like 240 billion a year.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, it is startling.
It's startling. That's exactly what it is.
And those statistics are actually real, and it's very recent statistics. So there's a lot of people that, are at work, but they're not really operating or functioning at their optimum, And there's also a huge level of absenteeism as well, due to various types of mental disorders where people are simply not being able to cope. Obviously, when you are at work, you are expected to perform
at your optimum base.
Absolutely. But there's also what we call presentism as well. So you're at work, but you're actually not there. So it means then that the levels of outputs are compromised, and that impacts obviously on the outputs of the organization, which ultimately then culminates into that, over 200 billion rands that is obviously lost due to, unproductivity.
And obviously it's because the depression and the anxiety has not been, what's the word, when I see that's what's wrong?
Yeah.
Prescribed when a doctor
diagnosed. It's not been diagnosed and treated. So in South Africa, I mean, Anele, there's more than 70% of people that really have got an underlying mental disorder that is not receiving any attention, is not being receiving treatment and management. So it means that there's a huge amount of people that really are trying to pull through on their own. They're trying to obviously self-medicate and seek solace in other things. I'll get better. Or they tend to substances such as alcohol, marijuana, and other forms, recreational drugs, to just try and self-medicate and cope. Because remember as well, there's still a huge sense of stigma and discrimination. So a lot of people fear to come forward and seek help.
Which is what I was thinking about, why people would not say it at work, because obviously work is the first ground that is so competitive that, you're always under the impression somebody wants your job. Your boss is going to fire you. If you don't deliver, you're going to be that person on the team who is not like pulling their weights. You don't want to let the group down. So you go to work and you're depressed, and even if HR has said it coming through, because I know like our radio station does it once a year. You guys come through and you chat to us. Are you sure you're not dealing with this? You're not gonna speak up and say yes, I'm depressed, because then they're like, that's why she can't perform.
Exactly. And you get labeled. Remember, there's all these words that we use. Ooh, that one, be careful. That one is a bit loony. That one is because
that one is dark.
That one is okay, and also, I mean, we did a survey as the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, particularly in the workplace, to really find out, those that have been diagnosed with mental disorder, are they comfortable enough to come, forward and actually speak out and tell their, line managers to say, this is what I'm actually dealing with, but also the line managers themselves are not equipped enough to actually deal with a team member that is suffering from a type of a mental disorder.
And what happens if your line managers depress themselves and they don't know what they're going through?
They don't know what they're going through.
So it's like a perpetual cycle.
Absolutely. But what we found, through this survey is that a huge, percentage of those were actually, surveyed felt that, they are not comfortable to disclose. They fear that they will be discriminated. They might not get that raise or the increase. They fear that they might actually lose their jobs.
Because also, let's say you're an air traffic controller, guys, you can't be depressed. And they'll keep that in, whereas you could just honestly treat it.
Exactly. And when you keep it in, it means that then obviously your performance outputs are not going to be at that level, because the environment is not conducive. It doesn't allow you to be yourself, and to really, once you are yourself, you can then perform better, but when you are bottling this, inside of you, you are trying to cope with it by yourself, you get home, you open a bottle of something, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. And that's that's certainly what we are seeing, that, you know, we need more and more of, you know, corporates to be empowered, to empower their line managers, their, you know, even senior directors, you know, to change this culture within our organizations, to create a much more, you know, welcoming and nurturing environment that, you know what, if you are suffering from depression, for example, you are not looked down upon and, you know, given these terms that, oh, you are crazy, you are loony, you are this, you are not stable, you know, and that in so doing, then, you know, people will actually be more comfortable to come forward and say, you know what, actually I'm battling from depression, I am on treatment, and then you can actually have that support, you know, within the organization that you exist in. We spend hours and hours at work, you know, so it's
You spend more time at work than you do at home.
Exactly, you know, so if that environment is not conducive enough for you, you can imagine the repercussions, you know, thereof.
And I mean, doesn't help that I feel South Africa is just 2017 has had the worst economic year ever, right? And the economists are like, calm down, Anele, relax, So, but I mean, I know personally, and I know like with my line of friends and my family that like, you know, the bonuses didn't happen this Christmas. The 13th checks were skinnier, you know, than last year's. Going into, and we are in the festive season, everyone's supposed to be merry and cheery, and you guys are like, no, this is the time when people are the most depressed. What can people do?
Indeed, I mean, and in fact, you are lucky enough to still have your job if you have not been retrenched. You know, so that is a reality to, you know, to a large number of South Africans. But certainly this time of the year, it brings with it, you know, there are a huge amount of expectations. There's huge pressures. Everybody expects you.
Presents,
exactly. You know,
school fees, school uniform.
Absolutely.
You know, if you are taking care of your extended family, you know, the pressure's on you.
The pressure's on to really, you know, to supply, you know, to provide, you know, to be there and be happy as well. You know, we've got this expectation that, you know what, let's all be merry, let's all be festive.
Or let's all go somewhere.
Exactly.
To me, that's another thing. Like, the first thing people ask you about your holidays, where are you going?
Where are you going?
What's wrong with my house?
Exactly. It's okay to be home. It's okay to actually spend this period at your house, you know, at home. But the expectation is that everybody is going on some type of a holiday. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you do not have the finances to do that, you know, it can really throw you into a complete dip, you know, where you feel sad. But also we know, you know, Anele, that some families, some individuals have experienced a very, you know, traumatic, you know,
they lost a member of the family.
Exactly.
It's the first Christmas without that
Without that person, you know, so that loss, it becomes sort of intensified during this time of the year, you know, so you feel lonely, you feel that, you know, you miss this person. But also, you might be in a situation where you know, you're elderly, your kids are out of town, maybe they're overseas, and this time of the year, everybody sort of goes
it's the first time your kids are married and they're going
gone
with their new family, and now you're
by yourself.
I see why this time is terrible.
And then it's terrible. So you've got no one around you to sort of celebrate the festive season. So over and above the other pressures, you know, of spending money, of being merry, but also you can feel lonely because you are all by yourself. It can be a huge reminder of something terrible that happened during this time of the year. So where everybody expects that it's a merry, it's a festive time of the year, you know, contrary to that, for a lot of people, they really feel completely secluded and lonely. And it's okay.
And it's okay. You don't have to be Jingle Bells and Little Drummer Boy and all that.
And get into the whole commercial frenzy.
Yeah, what we're saying is it's okay.
It's okay.
Find your space.
Find your space. It's important to really be conscious, you know, first of all, of your situation and to really make peace, you know, with it. There's interventions, you know. So if you are by yourself, your family is away, you know, very far away. I mean, we've got, you know, social media this day and age. There's technology that really can link you up. Maybe your family is in Australia, for crying out. So Skype with them, you know, connect with them using those platforms. But if it's not possible, you know, engage in community groups, in religious groups, so that actually you are surrounded by people, you are doing something meaningful. You could go and volunteer in a, you know, in an orphanage, in an old age home, you know, so that actually you are keeping busy, you are keeping your mind away from really feeling sad and feeling sorry for yourself and engaging. And in fact, you're doing something good, you know, for those that actually are less fortunate than you are. You know, be conscious of the fact that, you know what is your budget? If you cannot afford, you know, to be
and
anywhere,
it's fine. My thing is, and it's fine. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it's fine. Nkini, thank you so much. As always, your number will be on the screen so people can call Sadek. You guys must continue to do great work.
Thank you.
And you were quite insightful today. Thanks for that. Nkini Phasha, representing South African Depression and Anxiety Group. Smamkele Diale for a story of hope, and clinical psychologist Yasmin Kurveji. Thank you so much to all of them. I hope their messages got through to you, even if it's just one of you that's watching. If it'll help lift that paralysis caused by depression in your life this December and festive season, then our job is done. One thing I do know for sure, though, is that laughter really is the best medicine. So do stick around, as after the break, we spread some festive laughs to lift all of our spirits. And welcome back. We all know that South Africa is blessed with musical, acting, dance, sporting, and all sorts of other talent, but 2017 has been the year of the comedian. I firmly believe medical aid should actually just look into adding, like, laughing therapy into our plans so we can frequent comedy gigs, right? So after watching this, you'll understand why, no matter what you are or have done through this year, please hold on to the fact that the sun will rise tomorrow. So chin up and ask for help when you must. From me and the rest of the team, until tomorrow, it's a good night.